Hey, hi everybody. Welcome. We're in February. We've jumped into the month that everything really gets going. Hasn't quite started yet, but boy, are we feeling it, I think. And we also, with this month, comes. Belen, you going to grab those
Yep, they're
folks?
coming in.
Okay, great. Um, with this month comes some new teaching, and Velen's going to share that with us. Talk about what she's offering.
I am teaching the basics of the language of astrology, which by the end of the class, and there's a bunch of people in this group that have already taken it. By the end of the 8 weeks, you can actually look at a chart and pull out some actual information that you can validate, that you can try it with other people. You get the basics. And I'm doing it online starting March 5th. That's a Thursday night at 7 p.m. But for anyone who's local, I am also doing it at Whispering Oaks in Coburg on Sunday afternoons. So it's exactly the same course, except it's 4 weeks, double, like I do two classes in one afternoon. So that's the 8 lessons are kind of compressed into 4 weeks. So that is also an option. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm super excited about it. I love teaching the
Yay.
beginning. Yeah, super fun.
Love that. Okay, so for anybody who's interested, they should just reach out to us, Velen, or to you directly, or
Yeah, absolutely. The Language of the Stars Part 1 is on our website, but
yeah,
anyone can just email me, email
of
us.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
that's
at
all
the
good.
Joy email
Yeah,
or Velen directly or whatever you want.
yeah, yeah,
All goes to the same spot,
it
basically.
does to both of us.
Yes, good stuff. Okay, and we have, as always, Zora's take on the energy of February and what we're in for, what kind of pot is stirring for us, um, what kind of soup we're in. It's beautiful. So, for those of you who aren't aware, this is channeled information that Velen offers us from Zora, a soul collective that is in a different dimension, and so has a whole different take on what's going on for us, but is so often so uplifting and so supportive and so unconditionally loving. I just love it. So we're just going to take a moment to maybe just breathe and kind of soften and open up a little bit. And then Velen's going to share this with us, and we can just sit in the energy for a moment.
So this is what they offered yesterday when I did this channeling. My dear ones, allow yourself to feel the path that is opening before you. For it is within your inner knowing that you will be guided to the unfolding of your own new beginning. This beginning does not necessarily change your external world, for what is occurring at this time is a beginning that takes shape through the inner experience. Your life may, from the outside, seem remarkably similar to what has come before. Know that the experience of your own journey and what you manifest is about to step into a brave new world. Let your imagination soar and find the courage to express yourself more purely than you have ever done before. Your soul's journey is becoming even more integrated into your day-to-day life. And in that, there is a profound sense of personal truth as your essence shines forth. Know that you are guided, you are loved, and your soul's essence is truly needed to be expressed at this time on your planet.
Thank you. And really sitting in the reminder uh, of the value of you being here now. Not only did you choose this, but this time chooses you as well. how important it is, not necessarily that you're doing anything. You're here, breathing, and your vibe, your frequency, your essence, your truth, your authenticity is being offered to this time as a valuable, energetic piece of the puzzle. Very beautiful. So, as always, we're going to have some energy work today, this evening. If you do not want to be a part of it for whatever reason, you don't have to give a reason. Feel free to message me on chat. Just say no thanks, and you won't be included. Otherwise, you will be included. I'm just going to check in and see how everybody's feeling about that. All right, everybody's holding for that. That's great. And let's just take another moment or so as Valen launches into this courage piece to ground, to feel into your body, to be present, to breathe. And we're going to do a little bit more breathing as the evening wears on.
So February is a powerful month, and we've been saying this a lot for the last year, for sure. But this is an initiation month, and part of this change for moving forward is Saturn moving into Aries. Saturn is about creating, it's about manifesting. Aries is about courage. So the energies are going to be asking us this month to start to take real steps in who we're becoming, what we want to bring into our life, what we want to make real. So if Aries is divine inspiration, it's I am, it's initiating, it's passion, it's courage. And Saturn is discipline, structure, responsibility, boundaries that we create, commitment. All of these pieces, we're being asked to commit to ourselves with courage. That's just a very simple, direct way of making use of this energy. So over the course of this month, as of February 13, Saturn goes into Aries, so that activation is really starting to happen. And we may all, and of course we haven't lived this yet, but we may all feel a need to take some steps, a need to get going. Saturn actually allows us to actually slow down a little bit, actually ponder what are the right steps. And we've been, over the last year, that's been part of what we've been doing, is dreaming in, feeling into what we want, what steps we want to take, and really starting to sort out in our connection to who we are, what we want to make real in our life, who we're becoming. So this month, we're going to probably, when we can all check in next month, start to feel even more activated to take some courageous step towards the future path, towards what we're doing. And it's a time when we can really step into our self-confidence, really own. Saturn's about mastery. It's about inner authority, owning who we are, connecting to our inner self, owning what we can do. And I was listening to an astrologer over the course of this week at some point, and she basically said Saturn was in Aries, tiny bit in the summer, so we might have little inklings of what this means for us. And she said she had many of her women clients coming to her with imposter syndrome when Saturn was in Aries. So that's a part of, it's something that we can be aware of, that we are being asked as women to step into ourselves confidently, and it may look different than what the external world values. And this is where our courage comes in. How do we live our essence? What can we really bring with our own authority and mastery to the table? So that was a piece that when she said that, I thought, oh, that's a really interesting piece. Saturn is also very deliberate. So we are now being asked to make choices about what we're responsible for and who we're responsible for. And in essence, I am, that's the Aries part, says, okay, take responsibility for yourself first. Don't dissipate your energy by looking after everyone else. So this is a real theme over the course of this year, and it's really takes shape this month. Follow your inspiration with intention and discipline. So Aries is inspiring. It's what you're passionate about. And then Saturn says, okay, well, let's focus on it and make it real. So that's the kind of energy that we're now stepping into. And Saturn also can create challenges and fears, restrictions in some way. And if that comes up in our life, and it's going to be different for everyone, if that comes up in our life, to recognize that those are teaching moments, that we actually can be learning to trust our inner guidance. This is going to be a huge shift in all of us over the course of this year. Trust our inner guidance, trust ourselves, step into what we know to be true for ourselves. So it's an incredibly powerful movement that's beginning this month.
Beautiful. Okay, so with that in mind, our focus from all of those pieces that Velen just shared, and all of them I think are beautiful and really call out to me. We're going to look at make deliberate choices around what you're responsible for. And this is a piece actually sitting with our colleague Deborah Brody. Some of us here tonight are also doing this series that she's offering this week called Radical Self-Nourishment. And at the very beginning, she was having us take a look at our boundaries. And as women, as Velen just was talking about, our tendency in the way that we've been raised, and this has been true for hundreds of years, is to naturally take responsibility. And that is a feminine way, is to take responsibility as opposed to assuming authority. So we need to practice assuming authority for ourselves and taking that sovereignty step. But taking responsibility comes naturally for us. So the question is, what do you really need to be responsible for? Right? Where do your boundaries feel leaky in terms of what are you responsible for? Is that really yours to carry? Is it? It might be, yes, but it might not be. So just noticing, looking at specific areas of your life, and I'm going to encourage you to look at the areas of relationships. So it could be relationships with parents. It could be relationships with colleagues. It could be relationships with partners. It could be relationships with children. It could be relationships with your community or with your volunteering or with your siblings or with the area in where you take leadership. Also, if you have there are areas in your community where you are a leader in your neighborhood or in a club or a community or a sports group or something like that, where you take leadership. Or simply when somebody asks for help, do you automatically say yes? Is it an automatic yes for you? No matter how much it's going to deplete you, no matter how busy you are. And instead of having things be automatic, can you feel into how your boundaries might feel leaky for you? Now, if there is just one place that comes up for you immediately, where this is an automatic, like, oh yeah, so for me, I know immediately. It's my children and my grandchildren, 100%. It's so hard for me to say no. I will bend over backwards. I will do everything, anything. And I know that even as I speak this, even as I say this, I feel how much I'm patting myself on the back for that. I feel how much society is going like, oh yeah, you're such a good mom. You're such a good grandmother. You're so, I feel like it's so virtuous. And yet sometimes I feel like I'm killing myself. Like it's draining me. Right? So what is that going to look like for me this year? Am I going to keep on being the yes girl in the room, or am I going to set boundaries around that? And it's already happening. So these are decisions we need to make. So what I want you to do is in the chat, you can do it to the group or to privately, whatever you wish, doesn't matter to me. I'm going to balance you for an area in your life where you feel like your boundaries might be leaky. If there are 15 areas, please don't give me 15 things. Okay. If there's just like a top primary one that is so in your face right now that immediately comes to mind, it's so obvious, just throw that in the chat for me. Again, personal or to everyone. I'm going to grab them and we're going to move on, and I'm going to do the energy clearing and rebalancing as Valen moves into the next set of points.
So a seed moment in time. This is something that, once again, I have been talking about since the fall of 2024 specifically. And just for anyone who hasn't been in any of the circles, to remind everyone that this month, planet Saturn with planet Neptune join together at 0 degrees Aries, and that is the very beginning of the zodiac. And it has not happened at 0 degrees Aries maybe forever. There's some astrologers that said it came close in 4,300 BC. And looking forward, astrologers don't see it again. This is beyond my software. So what that is, this is a huge reset for all of us. This is a collective changing moment, and it's also a personal change. And we are stepping into a brand new cycle. And that happens, the beginning, the seed moment of that is February 20th, when they come together for the first and only time that they will be at 0 degrees Aries together, stepping into this brand new cycle. So Aries, as I talked about before, was the I am, the courage to be ourselves. And Neptune is about mysticism. It's our connection to source. It's our intuition, our creativity, our imagination. Also, it is where things dissolve. So now we've got Saturn, discipline. We've got Neptune, mysticism. We've got Aries, I am. So this moment is for all of us to watch where we want to step into ourselves, connecting to our dreams and making them real, which I think I've said many, many times over the course of the last year, or creating boundaries for our creativity or compassion, or creating a stable base for intuition, or making something real that is come out of our imagination. All of these pieces are what we're being asked to do, aligning to who we are now. So for each of us, it's going to be different. But what we're asked to do is trust this new beginning. The seeds that we plant now, at this moment in February, may not be fully obvious till the end of the year, or maybe even beyond. So all we can do is trust where our passion is guiding us, what feels aligned to what's right for us. Follow that, knowing that you are planting seeds for your future. And then, just like any seed you plant, you can't dig it up and check that it's going okay. You have to trust that it is actually unfolding as it should. There's a lot of different pieces around this, but because things may be uncertain and we have to trust, the guidance that we get from intuition is going to be how we take our next steps. And that's just the way we have to step into that and trust that as well. And the other piece is about grounding our spirit, our compassion, our creativity into our day-to-day life. Saturn is day-to-day. It's real life. It's the real stuff that we do and the time it takes to do them. And spirit and compassion is in Neptune. So what we're being asked to is really connect and bring spirit into Earth. And thinking of the big kind of cosmic picture, it's almost as if we are conduits for this new spiritual energy to be grounded now on our planet. Part of the bigger picture of what we're all doing as we do our own individual work. The other piece that is so important about this energy is action is required. This is a year, as we are initiating these new cycles, where we cannot avoid it. We can't sit back and think, I'll deal with that in a year or two, or I don't want to deal with that. This is actually what's required. So it doesn't have to be a big step, but we do need to intentionally follow what aligns to us and take some form of action, even if it's simply setting an intention. This is required for this year. And we're all going to feel this feeling as the year goes on. Like, I need to get going on something. We have to trust what we're being guided to and follow that. And the other piece about this is that, Saturn's our reality, Neptune is dissolving. And so what is probably going to happen, and probably has been happening over the last year, is that old stories, old patterns, old parts of our reality may be dissolving. And what we have to do is hold ourselves with self-compassion and have patience. Saturn is about time. It's about things going slow and building things to make things long term, and to have patience around that. So to recognize that we're in this place where the old is dissolving and that we're stepping into something new that may be uncertain. And so then there's this hesitancy, just to be compassionate with ourselves and to give ourselves time and space to evolve into this new way of being. And last summer, all the planets that are shifting in 2026 into the new energies were actually in the new energies for a couple of months, June, July, August. So I think I've said this a couple of times, but for whoever hasn't heard it, contemplate what was hinted at, what you initiated, what you were dreaming in the summer. Some people, it was very concrete. When I've looked at clients' charts, some people, it was very concrete what they did, very clear. Other people, it's this sense, a feeling. Something is brewing and you can kind of feel it, but it's not actually manifest yet. This is a clue as to what you are initiating at this moment in this month. So February 20th is going to be a big day, but it is a seed moment that lasts certainly for the rest of our lifetime. So it's just it's the very, very, very beginning of a very long process of our own development as we move into a new sense of self for all of us.
Beautiful. So before we get started on that, just having everybody acknowledge that we reconnected, all of us, to the frequency of I am important. I am important. So because today, in honor of the Aries energy, I am working with the I am statements. We're working with those statements specifically. Okay, so the next prompt comes from the focus point of considering what was initiated or hinted at this past summer, as guidance on your new path. So really connecting with that one piece that might have shown up. And if you're just guessing, that's okay. It's absolutely fine. If you know exactly what it is, great. And your two prompt questions related to this piece that showed up some way, somehow last summer, and there might have been more than one, absolutely, is what opportunity is emerging for me now? Just asking yourself that. What opportunity is emerging for me now? And if you have some questions about what this might be for you, please feel free to throw those in the chat. Okay, so what opportunity is emerging? And if I were to take one small aligned step forward with regard to this opportunity, it might be, just feel into that. And if you're having trouble connecting with that, just take the time that Valen was just describing. Take a little bit of time for your process. Sit with that and just trust that it may come to you when you are sitting in the journey that we're going to do at the end of the slides. We're going to have a quick journey and a heart activation, and that may be supportive for you. Okay. And if you have questions for us, please feel free to either throw them in the chat or hang out at the end, and we can do our best to answer them. So, considering what was initiated or hinted at last summer, what opportunity is emerging for me now? And if I were to take one small aligned step forward, it might be, and Valen is putting an example in here for her. her hint was being in heart coherence, daily practice with simple practices. And I know that some of those pieces are coming back for her. Again, she was just talking about that in her wisdom circle last night. So I know that I'm not speaking out of turn by saying that that's the case. And I know that she has also inspired some of the rest of us to also jump onto things like journaling, and in my case, doing more regular Eden energy medicine practices, very simple ones, nothing complex. And if you want some insight into that, I'm happy to share.
So the next piece that I wanted to bring in is we've got our first eclipse in February, and there is something in astrology called eclipse season. There's 2 eclipse seasons during a year. And I don't normally focus on eclipses, certainly within this context, because I find that at a personal level, eclipses really are activated when it's really close to a person's chart. So often we have 4 to 6 eclipses a year, and they represent beginnings and endings. But through my experience, I often don't see that as being a truth unless it aligns really closely with the chart. However, this one is echoing everything we're starting this year, and particularly this month. So I thought this makes sense. There's as if this month is conspiring to really start to activate the new energies that 2026 is bringing in. And part of the reason is yesterday, the planet Uranus, which is the planet of awakenings, future vision, high frequency, being authentic to ourselves, change, actually turned direct, which means it is moving forward. It starts to speed up. It has more direct impact on our life. So it's about breakthroughs. And so eclipses being representing new beginnings and endings, activated by Uranus, it can bring us breakthrough awarenesses that leap us into our future selves. So this can be unexpected ideas that pop into your head, some insights into who we are authentically. What does that look like? And the North Node is North Node eclipse. It's pulling us into the future. What's our destiny? So feeling into insights and awarenesses around our destiny. So that's a point that is being activated on this eclipse, which I didn't put the date, which is February 17th. Should have put that on the slide. It's also because Uranus has to do with authenticity, and Aquarius is about being our individual self, as well as doing that within the support of a collective. This is really focused on who we truly are, who we are at our core, how we express our authentic self. Once again, a huge theme for this year, taking action from that place of being true to who we are. The other piece about this, which has come up over and over the last year, is how the support of friends and family, that's the Aquarius nature, our tribe. We want to bring those people together so that we can be supported in expressing our true essence. This is crucial because we're starting into this new path. We can't necessarily even see around the corner at this point still. What we require is some form of community, even if it's one friend, that can hold space for us stepping into our true self. Hugely important. And the other piece about this eclipse is it's connected to Jupiter. Jupiter's in Cancer. We have, over the course of last year, we've talked about Jupiter being in Cancer, whereas Jupiter uplifts, it reveals truth, it expands. And in Cancer, it's like, how do we nurture ourselves? So there's a place here within this eclipse is to evaluate what self-care looks like. How do we do that now? How are we going to support ourselves now? And once again, and moving into the future. This is not what we did 10 years ago and, oh, that worked beautifully. This is actually really connecting and feeling into, what do I need to do now to take care of who I am becoming, and to recognize where that may even feel different, and to know that that's okay if it's not even fully comfortable, because we're figuring it out. And the part that brings Uranus into this again is it's unexpected. They say expect the unexpected with Uranus. So Recognize that unexpected energies, unexpected information, unexpected shifts initiate needed change. Uranus shakes things up where things have become stagnant. Life can conspire to bring in these sudden changes that we actually have to then navigate, in real life. Oh my gosh, what does this mean for me now? So that's quite possible. Starting with this eclipse, but moving forward, because Uranus is going to be moving forward and is more directly working in our life right now. And to recognize that there's parts of our life that no longer support our personal growth. To recognize what those pieces are, to start to see this is where Jupiter can bring insights through our self-care. Uranus can bring in different awakenings to what this means. And be prepared to let it go. Put down the pieces that we don't want to carry anymore into this brand new cycle that is the full year of 2026. So allowing ourselves to see the truth and to have the courage to put things down goes back to our responsibility to ourselves and what that means for us.
Beautiful. So I did something a little bit different today. People were just putting in here what their piece was that they were kind of reconnecting with. And what I did was I just tested to see if you were holding for that and to what extent you're holding for that. So don't stress if it wasn't 100% right from the very beginning. That's okay. That just means that all of your energetic parts haven't caught up with one another. And so what I'm doing is just going through and checking in to see what positive frequency you needed to reconnect with in order to get to 100%. And we've got frequencies like serene and wonder and inspired. So all beautiful energy. And then I reconnected you with those energies so that you can, and then I retested you to make sure you were at 100%. Okay. So if you weren't at 100% after I reconnected you, then I would do more. But right now, for those of you, I have already taken care of that, and I'll be doing more in a moment. So here, we're going to consider how it is that this time is allowing us to enter the portal. Okay, we're entering the portal. And in entering the portal, we want to allow ourselves to let go as an act of self-care. So let's circle back to that original question we had around leaky boundaries. A few of you had a few comments around that for yourselves, and we've already rebalanced you there. Okay. But I want you to consider this idea of what is not yours to hold. And it may be something that you've been doing your whole adult life, or even before that. Like you might have started when you were a young girl. And just consider what is not yours to hold. As you enter this portal, and this image is so perfect for that, right? It was as we take the dive into this new time, consider how leaving something behind, setting something down, okay, and you can imagine it as a baggage, an actual knapsack or a suitcase of things, or one small thing that seems minimal. And yet, it would be an act of self-care to set it down. So sit with that. And if nothing's coming to mind, that's okay. Maybe something will come up. Okay. And I'm going to continue to balance everybody for these pieces that are coming up for you in terms of what was initiated and now where your opportunities are arising in this time.
So, pulling all these pieces together, we're being asked to take action, and that action has to be individual and comes from our own personal wisdom. And there's a piece here where just knowing that personally and collectively, we are birthing a new reality. People are speaking of it as higher frequency, as fifth dimension, as, there's many, many, many ways that this is being described. Once again, because some of this stuff is really beyond language. And part of when we acknowledge that we're a piece of this reality, that's this new cycle that's being started, we're here, we chose to be here at this time. It's an incredible, exhilarating time to be in this beautiful change. But to really acknowledge what's going on and how big it is, even if the personal steps are seemingly small. And part of this is recognizing that consciousness, where we put our attention, where we put our intention, is what initiates our manifestation. That's part of what's happening now. That's becoming more and more real. I mean, physics has been talking about this for, I don't know, 60 years or something, probably more than that. But we're actually going to be living it. And so to recognize how incredible this is, this time, that's the acknowledgement that consciousness is first. That's becoming mainstream. The other piece around this is allowing ourselves to trust what's emerging for each of us individually, because it's going to be different for everyone, different parts of life, different challenges around it, different gifts around it, so that really all we can do is tap into our inner wisdom, tap into the trust that we can feel when we quiet our minds, when we are supported to be centered and grounded. And over the course of this year, there's certain configurations of the planets they're showing up. And it's very clear that our heart energy is what's guiding us forward. So if I can actually trust that, trust what feels right, trust the compassion for ourselves, even when we can't fully see where this path is heading. We're literally planting a seed this month, and then there's a whole lot of trust that has to go into it. So if we can connect to our heart energy and allow that to be our guide, we can find some comfort in knowing that the actual manifestation may be initiated once again in our, in consciousness, in our intentions, but actually may not be manifest in a way that's, we can touch and feel. So really really drop back into our heart energy. And for me, I think of the February 20th date as a place where you might want to pay attention. I put it into my phone so it comes up. Sometimes I get busy and I kind of lose track. I don't think I'd lose a track on this one, but still, it's in my phone because it would be a time to sit and focus and pay attention to where we're putting our focus, where we're putting our intentions, and to, even if it's busy, just to spend a few moments of being very intentional about what we are creating in this new cycle. And it does not have to be specific. It can be literally, I need to trust myself more. Absolutely, there's nothing concrete that has to happen here. It might be concrete, and that's good, but it may not. And my teacher, Rick, always has great quotes. And so I heard him on a podcast recently, and he said, don't try to see the whole road. Just focus on the next step. And that's because we truly have to take a step. We're being asked to show up, to take a step, aligned to who we truly are, creating a better world in whatever way that looks like for us. That's the essence of what this month is really asking of us and how we can show up for ourselves.
Oh, I just realized I didn't have my audio. So you've been hearing me mumbling to myself. Sorry.
Not really. Couldn't really hear you.
No? Okay, good. Good. It was quiet mumbling.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I've just added in a few more, and for the setting down of the pieces, so that as an act of self-care, which so many of you have just expressed kind of what piece that might be that you're setting down. The energy that's coming up is to reconnect with the energy of I am appreciated. I am appreciated. And when I feel into the energy of I am appreciated, it includes things like I am acknowledged, I am seen, I am valuable. I am enough. Okay, so just feel into that in terms of the setting down as an act of self-care for you. Okay. And one of our participants here this evening has said the next step reminds me of this quote that Rick gave, reminds them of their own favorite quote, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. Beautiful. Thanks for that. Okay, so our final piece here is letting your heart guide you forward, even if the path is not fully clear. And of course, we know right now that the path is very much not clear, and that's okay. And we're going to begin with a deep belly breath. And you're just going to imagine, as you do this breath, perhaps putting a hand on the belly is helpful for you. You're just going to imagine that you're on a bicycle. And don't worry if you don't like bicycles or you've never been on a bicycle or they scare you. This is a moment that where Lori Wilson's grandmother always reminds us, you're never in trouble. You're never in danger. Nothing bad can happen to you. So you're just imagining that you are riding on these beautiful, you're outdoors, it's a beautiful day. There's just a tiny bit of breeze. The sun is warm, but not too hot. You're underneath the trees and then coming out from underneath the trees, and you're on these beautiful hills that are just gentle. And there's no effort in getting up and down these hills. You're moving beautifully on your bicycle, up and then down, up and then down. And you can really notice the cadence of the movement up and down on the hills with your breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale as we come up to the top of the hill, and then we're going to just smoothly come right up over the top of the hill and start to exhale as we move down the other side. So inhaling up the hill gently. No pause at the top, no holding, no constriction, and then immediately releasing, exhale down the other side. If you've had a particularly stressful day, week, month, decade, just exhale through the mouth. Kind of like you're blowing a feather quite strongly across the table. And we're going to do that nice and evenly until you can just inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose without pause, gentle. And with the hand on the belly, see if you can really move that diaphragm, not forcefully, but breathing deeply into the belly, as if you've practiced this lying down, the idea is that if you had a small object on your belly, like a rubber ducky or a little wood block, or a little figurine of some kind that was nice and light, you could easily move it up and down. Inhale breath, belly comes out. Exhale breath, belly comes down. Okay. Nice and smooth. And when you're ready, leaving that one hand on the belly or switching hands if you prefer, take the other hand and place it on your heart energy center, your heart chakra, which is just for us, just above the breastbone and below the clavicle. We're doing that lower heart. And you're going to continue to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And we're going to take this moment to feel into this Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is coming. This road that we cannot see. And feel into as we breathe in and out and go up and down over the hills, enjoying this gorgeous, perfect day. We acknowledge that we are invited to open to a new kind of courage. The courage to trust our vision enough to build it. The courage to lead from soul rather than merely survival. the courage to name, draw, speak, and claim what is ours to shape. So, as you use your breath to bring yourself deeply into your body, your sacred space, with this deep belly breathing that is beautifully cyclical and fluid, feel into how you are creating a spell without words from your own words. You may speak words, but oftentimes in these times, words will not well describe what your experience is. As one of our circle members who's here today said to me a few days ago, there simply are no words. And so you may choose to create a kind of graphic prayer with your intention. Placing your feet firmly on Grandmother Earth, your spine against your chair, and allowing your bottom to sink into your seat. We're going to activate the heart chakra with this breath. The sound here is ah, ah. And I'm going to encourage all of you to make that sound for yourself. Ah, make it nice and long, activating your heart chakra. And as you activate your heart chakra, say or think to yourself, if you like, say out loud so that your ears can hear it, I am here. I am open. I am receptive. I am here, using those Aries I am energies. I am open. I am receptive. Sink into that place of allowing. And then as you roll along, following your breath, as we feel Saturn preparing to join Neptune in this I am energy, feel the invitation to initiate a new form of reality for yourself. As Zora said, this will start within you. It is already happening. Sit with how you might bring structure to your soul's wisdom and ground your spiritual vision into some sort of visible form. And as you stand at your current edge, ask yourself what dream, desire, or soul-guided vision wants to take shape through me now. Let your body answer. This is your origin point. Know that whatever comes through you is meant for you. And just feel into that for yourself. When you're ready, just bringing yourself back to this place and time. If you have pencil or pen handy and you like to sketch, draw, journal, scribble, make a little note for yourself so that you will remember, go ahead and do that. And we're going to pause the recording and share for a few minutes before we sign off for tonight.